Today's topic is extinguishing a fire. So we will discuss here how a fire can be extinguished. So for that, as you all know, the fire can be extinguished with the help of water. So when you use water, then the fire can be extinguished easily. Today's topic is extinguishing a fire. So here in this part we will see that how the fire can be extinguished. So as you all know that you can use water for extinguishing the fire. How? Water evaporates. So when you put water on the fire, water will start evaporating, and so what it will do? It will take away the heat from the fire. So what will happen? Then it will cool down, and the burning material will also cool down. Then the temperature will go down below the ignition temperature, and then the fire is extinguished. As you all know that for the substance to burn, a minimum temperature is required, that is the ignition temperature. So when you use water, the water will evaporate, then this will cool down, this will reduce the ignition temperature, and then the substance will be extinguished by the use of the water. But there should be some precautions, because in all the cases we cannot use water, it can be dangerous. So some of the precautions that we should follow while using water are, we should not put water on the fire that has been caused by petrol, kerosene or diesel, whichever item that is lighter than water, and do not mix with it. So this type of items, if they have caught fire, then we are not supposed to use water on that. Why? Because these substances are what? Lighter than water, and it will not mix with this water. As a result, what will happen? This substance will float, and the water forms a layer beneath this substance, and the substance will continue burning, because it is all these substances are what? Lighter than water. So water will settle down, and these substances will float. And again, if it is caused by electric fires, then also you cannot use water. If this fire is caused due to the electricity, then also you cannot use water, because water will conduct what? Electricity, because water is a good conductor of electricity. So you should not try to extinguish fire with water if it is over electrical fires. Okay, so what instead you can use is the fire extinguisher. Water fire extinguishers, these are the tools that are used to extinguish the fire. And this make use of what mainly? This make use of the carbon dioxide. And carbon dioxide being heavier than air, it settles down. And this cut off the supply of oxygen to the burning material, and then the fire extinguish. So this is the principle behind the fire extinguisher. So what type of gas is necessary for extinguishing the fire is carbon dioxide. So this being heavier than air, it will what? This heavier carbon dioxide will settle down, and this will cut the oxygen supply, as oxygen supply is necessary for burning. So if oxygen supply is cut, then the fire will be extinguished. So this is the common principle, and based on this there are two types of fire extinguishers. The two types of fire extinguishers are, one is carbon dioxide fire extinguisher, in which carbon dioxide is filled into the cylinders under very high pressure. So this type of fire extinguisher are very common, which always use what? Carbon dioxide, which is filled into the cylinder under very high pressure. Whenever there is fire, if you release the button or the knob that is on the top of the cylinder, then carbon dioxide will be released, and this will cut the oxygen supply, and the fire will be extinguished. Now the second type is also very important, which is the soda ash fire extinguisher. Now from the term only you can see this is a fire extinguisher, the soda ash, which contains what? Sodium hydrogen carbonate. So next type of fire extinguisher is soda ash fire extinguisher, where what is put? A concentrated solution of sodium hydrogen carbonate and what? Sulfuric acid. So these two items, they are kept inside the separate compartments inside the fire extinguisher. Okay, so here the concentrated solution of sodium carbonate and sulfuric acid are kept separated in separate compartments or chambers inside the fire extinguisher. So when we use the fire extinguisher, the soda ash type fire extinguisher, if you use, then there is a knob. That knob, if it is turned for opening this fire extinguisher, for using this fire extinguisher, while turning the knob, then the sulfuric acid containing chamber opens up and then it mixes with the sodium hydrogen carbonate, which was present in the separate chamber when the extinguisher was not used. So while turning the knob, while trying to open the knob, then this sulfuric acid gets open and mixed with sodium hydrogen carbonate, and then there is a reaction. That is, sodium hydrogen carbonate plus sulfuric acid will liberate what? Carbon dioxide. In the process, the reaction is sodium sulfate plus water and plus carbon dioxide. So main thing is what? The liberation of carbon dioxide. So here also sodium sulfate, water and carbon dioxide will be given out. So this carbon dioxide will be helpful in extinguishing the fire. So what is the reaction? The sodium hydrogen carbonate react with sulfuric acid to form what? Sodium sulfate, water and carbon dioxide. Okay. I think all of you have understood this fire extinguishing process and the two types of fire extinguishers. Now we will come to one of the very interesting part, that is the flame. What is the flame? The flame is a region where combustion of fuel take place. So what is the flame? The flame is the region where the combustion of fuel take place. So this region, what happens here? There is combustion of fuel, and this is called what? The flame. Now there are different colors of flame. The colors of flame depends upon what? The flame that comes out while we are burning something. Okay, so that is called the flame, and this type of flame had different colors, and the color of the flame depends on these factors, that is the temperature, the amount of air, and the nature of the substance that is burning. So I think all of you know that there are different colors of the flame which comes out when we burn a fuel. So these colors depends on what? Due to the temperature, depends on the amount of air that it is getting or available, and the nature of the substance that is burning. The color also depends on the nature. Like the hydrocarbons will burn with blue or yellow flame. What are hydrocarbons? The compounds that contains hydrogen and carbon. So this type of compounds will burn by giving out what? Blue and yellow flame. So as you can see in your book, I'll show you now. See here, this is the picture 1, this is the image 2, and this is 3, and this is 4. So this is the change in color of the Bunsen burner flame with increasing oxygen supply. The burner that we generally use in the laboratories is called the Bunsen burner. This is used for what? Heating the substances, heating the chemicals that you use while performing different experiments. So there is a knob. If you turn the knob, if you rotate the knob towards clockwise or anti-clockwise direction to reduce or increase the flame, then you can see the various colors that come out from the burner with the increasing oxygen supply. So you can see this are the flames that comes out from the burner. So in that you can also see a yellow flame. So how come the yellow flame comes out? This yellow flame is also called the luminous flame. So, and it will emit a lot of light. So this is luminous flame, and this will emit what? A lot of light is emitted. Okay, when there is yellow flame, a lot of light is emitted. And how? When there is insufficient amount of oxygen. When the supply of oxygen is quite less, insufficient, then what is produced? This luminous flame. What is this? This is the yellow flame. So what will be produced? Light. Huge amount of light is produced, a lot of light is produced, and because of the insufficient oxygen. This is incomplete combustion because there is insufficient oxygen, and its temperature is lower than the blue one, the blue flame. Its temperature is lower, and whenever using this yellow flame, if you are in that yellow flame, if you are doing something, then that utensil will get what? A black soot, a black deposition will be there in the bottom part of the utensils, whatever you are using, or any apparatus that you are using in the laboratory. It will be deposited with a black soot, because black soot will be deposited on this on the utensils or the items that we are using. So this comes as a residue. So when you are using the yellow flame for any purpose, then you will get the black soot, and this is incomplete combustion. But what about the blue flame? The blue flame that we get is non-luminous flame. It will give very little light, and this occurs due to, this blue flame comes due to adequate oxygen supply. When there is sufficient oxygen supply, then it gives what? The blue flame. There is no black soot, so no residue, and this is complete combustion because of the presence of adequate oxygen. So see how many types of flames we got: the yellow flame and the blue flame. So it's interesting to know that the yellow flame is a luminous flame with a lot of light, and blue flame is non-luminous with very little light. Blue one for complete combustion and yellow one for the incomplete combustion. So I think all of you have understood up to this much, and in the next class we will be discussing about the candle flame.